Hey guys, recording this here on what is it, Friday the 19th. Maybe you're seeing this on Monday at the latest, but want to let you know we are almost sold out for Founder 500 in Austin, Texas here in about a week. It's going to be an amazing event, 500 B2B SaaS founders. I'm looking at the attendee list. There's almost 60 founders with more than $6-7 million in ARR. It's an incredible group. There's over 150 with more than a million revenue. It's an incredible group. You don't want to miss it. Grab your hotel, grab your flight, grab a ticket right now. I'll put the link in the bio, in the description here on YouTube. And I think there's only about 3 tickets left. Okay, about 3 tickets left. I'd love to see you guys there. Don't be bashful. Grab your ticket now. Hey folks, my guest today is Andrew Jacoby. He's an entrepreneur focused on tech-enabled productized services designed to help companies grow sales. He co-founded his current company, Next Sales, in 2018, and after hiring a CEO, currently serves as the Chief Innovation Officer. Andrew, you ready to take us to the top?
I'm ready, Nathan. Let's do it.
All right. First, give me in your head, what does a founder have to go through or think to go, you know what, I don't want to be the CEO anymore. Let me replace myself.
That's a good. When you suck really. Actually, what it was that I'm 49 years old, and as you get older, you gain a little bit of humility, and you start to realize you can't do everything. When I was younger, I thought I could do everything, and as I got older, I realized I'm good at some things. I'm more of a creative 0 to 1 kind of person, and once I got the thing to a certain level, that it went from ideas to, hey man, spreadsheets, HR, finance. I had to tap out and bring somebody else in who can operate at that level better than I could. That's
interesting. All. And what level was that? Like, was it a revenue figure you passed or got too complex? Yeah, it was a team size.
Right. It's a good question. We're a tech enabled service, so we obviously use a lot of tech, as does everybody. But we're a human based business. I mean, we rent out human labor essentially. I mean, obviously there's IP parts of it as well and IT as well, but ultimately it's people. So when you're scaling with people, it's not as easy as saying, hey, Nathan, you want to buy 1,000 seats? Here's 1,000 logins. Go get them, man.
So what margin do you like to make per? By the way, I obviously don't like the people model. I like SaaS, but if you can do the people model efficiently, it's a whole different story. So like what margin do you like to make per hour of human time that's on your team?
Right. That's it. We don't do it. We don't think of it that way. But to answer your first question, our year one, so we did our first year was 2019. We did about 129,000. Year two, we did about 450, and it started to get a little bit raggedy around the edges, around that 500,000 mark. Year three, we did about a 1.2 million, and that was when I tapped out at sort of around that level. So around a little bit north of $1 million. And luckily, we had an executive coach at that time, and he was a successful entrepreneur in his own right, and had built and sold multiple companies, but was doing coaching and consulting on the side. He was getting an itchy trigger finger to get back in the game, because consulting, you're not actually in the cockpit. And he was looking for an opportunity, and luckily enough, he joined and became.
Finish that story. So 1.2 million 2021. What do you think you'll do this year?
That's a good question. I don't know. This year, the first thing that he did was, hey guys, we got to put on the brakes, because we were basically I'm a sales and marketing guy by background, and so I'm a hammer, and everything is a nail. More top of funnel, more leads, more meetings. Let's print meetings, close business, print meetings, close business. And that's great. It works to grow the company, but it operationally can get messy that way. So he just said, look, guys, this year, 2022, we've got to slow things down. We've got to clean up the churn problem.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time. You can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay. Yellow is what private equity. And red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here, and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. What's the churn problem?
Well, no, right now he's been in place for 6 months and we have no more churn problem. We think of it a different way, Nathan. We think about it as net revenue retention. So that's how we look at the portfolio, the health of the portfolio.
But tell me how bad it was. I mean, I like that metric.
Oh, it was bad, right? It was bad. I mean, let's put it this way. It's bad in the first 6 months of our kind of business because you're stroking a check to me for a while before you're getting an ROI, and people freak out. Nobody likes to stroke checks and nobody likes to do that. They want to get ROI immediately. Everybody wants we live in a push button world. And what we're doing
how big is the check?
Well, for us, it's $3,800 a month per 1,000 contacts works. That's what we consider a seat of SDR service. So essentially what was happening was that people were coming in the first 6 months. There's a high churn rate because they'll freak out and it's hard to keep them calm. Once you hit the 6 month mark, once you hit the 9 month mark, once you start seeing a return, those meetings turning into pipeline, that pipeline turning into business, then all of a sudden you're fine. The churn goes away essentially. I mean, it almost goes to nothing, and you start going to expansion. Right now we have net positive, so we're probably 105%. We'd like to improve that. But our business expands now, and that's all due to the operational. So I would say, just to give you a sense revenue-wise, because I know you're going to ask me, because I know your show. This month
listen,
we'll probably, yeah, right. I'm a big fan.
Awesome, dude.
This month we'll probably do between 135 to 140K MRR.
That's great.
And last year, I know you're going to ask me what we did last year. Probably around 100.
Yeah, so that's good growth.
So it's still growing, but as you saw in the first 3 years, we were growing hundreds of percent. And
I love it when I have someone. I love it when I have someone who comes on. You can always probably do this interview yourself. Because I
got my favorite book. I got everything, man. I'm good.
That's awesome. People always go. You're a good person to ask this. People always go, Nathan, I freaking love your show, but why would I ever come on? And I what I tell them is, well, first off, we just passed 20 million downloads. So your episode will get 20,000 downloads. There's a lot of investors that listen. There's a lot of potential customers that listen. So you'll see an influx. But for you, not knowing all of that, why agree to come on?
Well, because number one, I respect what you're doing. I think it's great. And number two, you're a gatekeeper to an audience that we want. We work with B2B SaaS companies and the consulting cloud around them. Yeah, and that's who we're trying to reach.
So tell me more about that. We skipped over that, right? So what is the product? What do people pay next sales $3,800 a month to do?
We staff up. We built a sales development as a service engine that we bolt on to companies. So essentially, if you're saying to yourself, "Hey man, I want to go hire a bunch of SDRs, or I'm going to go hire an SDR to build top of funnel for me," we say, "Go ahead, go do that if you want to do it." When you've gotten beaten up, punched in the face 1,500 times trying to do that, then you come to us and we say, okay, we have the intellectual property. It's all we've done. We've built the HR engine. It's a tough job to hire for, as you know, Nathan. It's high churn. You're dealing with young kids, and it's a hard, emotionally difficult job every single day. I started in the business. That's how I know what it's like. Actually,
how many are on your team today?
Actually, believe it or not, our CEO, I was his SDR in 2008.
That's amazing.
So it's amazing. Full circle. Sorry, Bryce.
Wait, so how many trained SDRs do you have available on your team today?
Right now, we have 36 SDRs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have 36 SDRs, 53 employees total. At one point, we've become much more efficient. At one point, we were over 105 employees, and we've slimmed the model down. Yeah.
How does that math work? I mean, a team of 53. So if you're doing 1.6 million at run rate right now, divided by 53 employees, that only leaves like $31,000 of like revenue per employee, like to pay them. That's really, really low.
Right. Well, the way we're able to do it, the way that we're able to work the model is we use labor efficiencies by going to, first of all, we're heavily using technology. So everything that can be automated is automated. We've built a model that handles all the sales ops, all of the list building, everything included. And we found that the best talent that we've been able to find for the spend is in Eastern Europe. And this is after testing everywhere you can imagine.
These are these sales people. So of the 53, these are the 36 SDRs?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, okay, so let me ask the obvious question. My audience is probably wondering, Nathan, I sell in the US. I don't want an SDR with like a heavy Polish accent trying to sell to US customers. I don't think that's going to work.
Right. Yeah. If that were the case, we wouldn't be in business. So I would have the same, I had the same prejudice in the beginning. And then, but I'm like a scientist. So I don't, to me, I'm do experiments, and I might test that hypothesis and say, okay, well, I've got guys in the States because I've hired in the States. And then I've got guys in Eastern Europe, let's say, or guys and gals. And if the results are better over there, even with the accent, I'm going where the results are. I'm going where I get the biggest ROI on my money. I don't have an opinion beyond that. I want the best return on my capital. And the interesting thing also, Nathan, about this is that I could put you on the phone with two SDRs. One would have an accent that's strong and the other one would have an accent that's weaker. And you would be surprised. Sometimes, like, that's not the determining factor of success. There's X factors. There's emotional capabilities. There's all kinds of stuff. What we try to do is we try to produce a huge return for our clients. We shoot for at least a 200% ROI.
Got it. How many customers are you working with today?
Clients, we have about 45 different clients right now at all sizes.
I was gonna say, so for 45 clients, what are you actually, if I pay you $3,800 today, you're giving my SDRs 1,000 leads, or what are you actually delivering there?
Right. We work 1,000. It's 1,000 contacts per month. That's how we think of it. What we're doing is we're putting those people into a multi-step multimedia sequence. Their email, LinkedIn. We have all the tools, and they're going out. They're getting that's not 1,000 phone calls. That's 1,000 contacts that are being worked through a phone.
How does that translate though? So you have 36 SDRs on your team, but working leads could be all automated. So at what point does the SDR pick up the phone or do something to help work the lead?
That's a great question, because it's a great question. In this world, it's all about tech. We have this huge, it's push button top of funnel. I will tell you this today, Nathan. 80 to 90% of the results, meaning the leads that the meetings that we book, are human being picking up a telephone, speaking to another human being, and booking that meeting. So with all the tech, and it doesn't mean the tech's not involved. Doesn't mean the sequences aren't going.
Wait, Andrew, hold on. I don't want to lose this. That you're working 1,000 leads. Your 36 SDRs are calling these leads for me. B2B SaaS company that wants help, but I don't want to hire a full-time SDR. I'm paying you to do this, $3,800 a month. They're working 1,000 leads. They're setting up meetings. Is that the pass-off point? Your SDRs are setting up meetings on someone on my team's calendar?
That's exactly right. We don't do anything except set the meeting. Our goal is that your AE resources, or whoever your salespeople are, should not be involved unless there is a qualified, interested prospect on the other end of that line. That's our goal. That's our utopia.
How many of those were there last month total across all 45 customers? How many meetings did you book? Qualified meetings?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to look. I don't know, man. It's a good question. It's a curveball. Don't know. I have to look.
The reason I'm asking is, what do you think a B2B SaaS customer would want if they're paying you to work 1,000 leads?
That's a great question.
Would they be happy with 20 booked meetings?
Look, everybody would be happy with infinite book meetings, right? Like, so everybody gets on the phone with me and they're like, all right, well, I want 50 book meetings. Where do you come up with that? What we do is, let's be realistic. Let's go outbound and see what's possible in the real world. Let's get a quota and let's try to beat that quota. But let me give you this. I mean, basically the financial algorithm is pretty simple. You're paying me money for X, for sales activities. We are going to try to convert those sales activities into leads. You don't care about leads. You care about meetings. So what is the cost per meeting? Then once we have that established, how many meetings do you need to close a deal? And everybody screws this up as well because they think they close everybody. And yeah, okay, on non-cold traffic, if it's your, your wife's or your husband's, bridge partner, fine, you might close that deal or whatever, or golf partner, you might close that deal at a high rate. But if it's a cold call lead, somebody on the other end, your close percentage is going to go way down. So let's get a realistic funnel. Let's get a realistic financial algorithm together. And then what that looks like, it's like, let's say you're in the game. Let's put it this way.
Wait, Andrew, hold on. You're just too much. Let me break this down before you keep going.
Sure.
At some ACV, this model doesn't work because the pricing plan is too cheap. What's that 100%. Cutoff?
We say 20. The more the merrier, but in an ideal world, you at least have a 20 grand ACV at minimum.
Okay, so all of you listening right now, right? That's interesting, right? So if you're selling something for less than 20 grand a year, you have no option to sell anything for more than 20 grand a year. This won't work for you. It also gives you a hint to how you break 10 million bucks, 20 million bucks.
It could work. It could work.
I can tell you it wouldn't, because the volume would have to be so high.
Right.
Exactly. It would be very hard to make it work. So I'm just the lesson I want to give to the audience right now, though, is, you guys, if you want to build a $10 million SaaS company, you have to have a clear path to an engine that allows you to close 50,000, 60,000 a year deals. That's the financial
algorithm. You're buying sales meetings at X, and you add your close percentage to that, and then you have a cost per closed customer. And if that's more than you spent on the sales activities, you're golden.
Yep. Very cool. Now you've bootstrapped. Andrew, we're running out of time here. You're bootstrapped, right?
Sure. Yep, 100%.
No, any plans to raise or no?
We've had people ask at the moment. No, we're happy to run on our own capital at the moment.
Love that.
We're not saying that not in, it might happen in the future, but at the moment we're happy. We don't see a better return for our own money except in the business. We think that's the best return we can get for our capital.
And last question here. It's really hard for me to tell who's good at this and who's not, right? So we've worked with Ready Hire and Alley-Oop, Steven, who worked with ZoomInfo early on. We worked with the full funnel crew. I get outreached by probably 10 of these kinds of companies a day. And it's always so difficult for me to cut through the noise and figure out who's good. Who's good besides you? Who's good? How do you measure who's good?
Well, we focus on being the best that we can be. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to try. You have to find a way to give you have to, what if I were you? I'll put it this way. A better way to ask that question is, if I were you, what would I do to determine what company I was going to work with? I'd talk to their customers. Right.
I'd test every one of them.
Right. I would either test if I could, or if not, I would at least talk to their customers and get specific financial information about them. Not financial, meaning, how many leads are you getting for them? How many meetings are you getting? That kind of thing. I would want to find out that information if I could. And if not, I would at least want to talk to the customers and say, look, man, what have you done for them? That's the best you can do. Otherwise, you have to try that. Everyone's going to say they're the best, man. Everybody's
Andrew, good stuff, man. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite book.
Favorite book at the moment would be Searching for and Maintaining Peace by Jacques Philippe.
Maintaining Peace. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I would have to say always Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett.
Yeah. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building next sales?
Right now, I love Notion. I'm a huge Notion fan. We don't even use it in the company, but I'm the innovation officer. I think Notion is our future. I love Notion. Great tool.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6 to 8, man.
Okay, that's good. And situation, married, single, kids?
Divorced, no kids.
No kiddos. Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
49. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Wish I knew when I was 20. There's no easy way.
Guys, he started off as an SDR and said, let me build a system to help people do this better. Launched in 2019 at $129,000 in revenue, scaled to 1.2 million last year, about $100,000 a month run rate, now up to $140,000 a month run rate. Also replaced himself as a CEO because he realized he can't do everything, and he loves being creative in the CIO role instead, Chief Innovation Officer. They're serving 45 B2B SaaS customers, helping them book meetings for their AEs, so that you don't have to hire full-time SDRs yourself and incur that P&L expense. Interesting model. A lot of people are going this route these days when they want trying to figure out their sales motion. 53 on his team right now, 36 are SDRs ready to help you guys out. Andrew, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate it, man.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.